All right. Good day, beer planners. We are back again with another episode of the Beer Plans Podcast. So once again, I'm your boy Vinny.
I'm DJ V-Loss, 2025 edition.
Mr. Brown stay chilling.
Mad Flash, chilling as always.
So man, this year, man, this is just like an interesting vibe going on out here, right? It's just like,
How'd your kids? How'd your job, boy?
Yeah. Oh man, that's the episode. That's the episode title right there. How'd your kids? How'd your jobs?
Yeah, cause y'all boy Trumpito is out here being chaos monkey again.
Nah, for real.
Yeah,
And penis head Elon.
and testing the resiliency of the system. Yo, you know what? I've been thinking about this actually, and I feel like everything that's been going on for the past probably like 5 years at this point is the reason why the nerds and geeks probably should have never gotten the opportunity to have control of anything.
You all will pay.
Everything.
But Revenge of the Nerds was such a great movie.
Yeah, we're living it now.
Right, for real.
Because
Like,
everything
for real.
that's happened, there's somebody at the forefront that you know, like Mark Zuckerberg. Really, y'all know that nigga was who he was, right? He wasn't the cool kid in the pantheon of things.
No.
Elon Musk, rest my case.
Pantheon.
Yeah.
Trump-
Call of Duty shout out.
Trump was the rich kid that people like hung out with because he had money, not because they liked him. He was
Right.
an asshole. It's like fuck it, he's gonna get us the beer because he's the one with the fake ID.
Right.
Like everything that's going on, this is my current working theory. At least in America, I have no idea what the fuck's going on outside of America because I'm American, and who the fuck cares what's going on anywhere else? Because America. But anyway,
right.
America.
But no, everything.
America.
When you think about it, there's a nerd at the like I heard Sergey Brin, who was one of the founders of Google, talk about how he thinks that the optimal work week for a productive, air quote, productive Google employee is around at least 60 hours per week. And so it's
a
just
lot.
like
Is that in-house though? Or are you saying like take your work home and do it home also?
That's still a lot, though.
60
hours in a week.
But that's what it
40
is.
hours.
It's like we back to the 1990s style of like just let me extract as much productivity out of you, and even if you do exceed expectations, if you don't exceed it to the level that I expect you to exceed it, you still fire for performance.
Yo, you know what kills me though? Is like I got into this argument with somebody the other day when they said Elon sent an email out talking about justify your job so that he can keep you. My thing is, if you don't know what I do, how can I justify my job to you? You know what I'm saying?
They
Like,
cut what is that? USA just because they've never been to South Africa.
Like-
and seen what's like it killed me when I saw a woman they did a report in South Africa when and a woman just doing a reporter just doing her job, standing outside of a USA building, and a woman just walked up, and she was like, "What's going on?" She was like, "Oh, they cut the funding to USA." She was like, "Oh, really?" And she's like, "Yeah." She's like, "Well, where am I supposed to get my medication from? And where am I supposed to, get help from?" 'Cause I think she had a substance abuse or something. But like she's like, where am I supposed to get my help from? So it's like a real honest reaction. But if you're just an asshole who's never experienced that shit doesn't matter. It's just dollars, dollars and signs to
you
you.
can't put somebody that's as antisocial as Elon in charge and expect bad things not to happen.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Like it just don't work that way.
And that's the other thing. It's like I'm also my second theory is like none of these politicians are good. No one's good at economics. No one understands basic economics, right? Like because they're cutting stuff because they was like, oh, it'd be great to cut the government, but they're only going to cut the stuff that they want to cut. You know what I'm saying? And same thing on the other side. Like prior to that, they was giving niggas mad money. It's like if you print money, it's going to cause inflation. Fuck it. We got midterm or whatever conspiracy theory you want to believe for why they did it. And so that's my. I know we all agree pre-production to not talk about.
And this is my last point with that too, though. And I'm dropping after this, but
everybody's stupid.
it's interesting
That's
because.
politics right there.
But the interesting part about this whole thing to me is that when they were saying they're gonna have Elon in because he's gonna run the government like a business. My thing is, I will argue the government's not supposed to be run like a business.
Oh, yeah,
you know
absolutely.
what I'm saying? Like it's supposed to be run as the oversight for the country,
Right.
Not you hitting your bottom line. F everything else. We try and draw a profit and nothing else. You know what I'm saying? Like you dealing with military, you dealing with people's lives. Like, I would imagine that if you're in the government, you understand, look, there are certain things you're going to pay into that we may not get that benefit from because we are the government.
Right.
If you're Amazon doesn't have to meet the same standards that the U.S. government does. So when you come in and try to say that y'all going to put yourselves on the same goal, that's a problem.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then expect people to give in that same effort to you. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I feel like that's the misstep that they're making right now.
Well, what did we say? What did we, you and me, say from the beginning? Yeah, this is what y'all want. Fuck y'all.
And I'm gonna be honest with you, I was there, but then I realized I got kids, so I don't even got that luxury at this point. Like, it just sucks because I want to tap out and I want to be like, yo, F this, F y'all got it. But it's like, yo, at this point, it's just inevitably tied, which makes the frustration that much worse.
It's like these fools. It's almost like these fools are just like trying to haze Americans.
Basically.
Hazing Americans.
And speaking of hazing,
Hazing,
Mr.
yeah.
Brown, you said you had some shit you wanted to get off, right? I mean, and it don't gotta be about that, but you can.
No, we can. We're going to get back to the hazing topic, I guess.
I know that was a weird segue.
Wait.
Okay.
Speaking of hazing, nigga.
Yeah, right.
We can maybe,
I tried.
You know, we can maybe do that, and I can just talk about my shit at the end.
No.
It's not crazy. No. So I just wanted to take a moment just to acknowledge. So I alluded to this a little bit the last time we recorded. So for the past like several months, lost several family members. So some of y'all know about. Some I haven't really talked about too much about, which y'all even say this was my first time on here. But so I'm early, right before Thanksgiving, kind of, I lost my aunt.
Man.
You know what I'm saying? She had, you know, I won't go too detailed, but, you know, I lost my aunt, you know, to illness. And, you know, that was really rough on the family for a while. Then December comes around, and I lost my my little cousin, who was tragically killed in December. So, you know, and then first of the year, January 2025, lose another cousin to health issues. So it's like, you know, it's been a really rough time for me. So I just wanted to take a moment to just, you know, shout out and say rest in peace to my auntie Jackie, my little cousin Kyrie, and my big cousin Tyon.
Sure.
I'm not going to, it's all of this is sad, right? So, you know, grief hits us all at different times, at different waves, different times. You never know what's going to really hit you. Something I've been dealing with for the past couple of months. I don't wish having to go to like 2 funerals back to back within a week on anybody.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's rough.
Wow.
But you know, all I'm gonna say real quick is just, you know, none of us know our time, right? So just cherish your your people in your life while you have them, because when death happens, we always think about the shoulda, coulda, wouldas, and I wish I would have said this. I wish I would have did this. I wish we would have had more time. And you know, I think now, you know, I think most of us. This is the part about life. I think I've said this before. The part about life is getting older. The worst part is ultimately you're going to lose people. You know, at different times. So you know, just cherish your people while you're here. You know, if you don't have like a major, even because, you know, families go through ups and downs, of course, right? So you know, if you don't have like a major like issue with your family, you know, I'm talking about to where it's not like an abusive or you know
nothing crazy
going on, just try to mend that shit, you know, as much as you can, because if they're not here, you're gonna really miss them, you know what I'm saying? And then also I'm gonna speak to men, black men in particular especially, like, get your health together, go to the doctors. I gotta take my own advice, you know what I mean? Because I'm the type of person who's admittedly avoided going to see my primary care, but you know, we don't know what's, you know, a lot of times, you know, we can have some underlying shit going on within us, and we have, you know, we probably have an idea, but we're not really, you know, men in general, it's that stereotype. We don't like to go to the doctor.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But, you know, it's a lot of us out here dying, you know, young because we're neglecting some shit that's going on with our health.
Yeah.
So, that was my two little steps, like, you know, just cherish your people while you're here, and, you know, get yourself together. Don't be, you know what I mean, you know, health is wealth. Everybody always preaches that, but it's really a thing. You know what I mean? It's easier said than done. But I just, you know what I'm saying? I just want everybody to like take those moments, you know, to do that. You know. So.
Yeah,
sure,
and
man. Enjoy life and be healthy, man.
Absolutely.
And yeah, I mean, like for guys, I feel like I can speak for myself, and I feel like it's a lot of guys in the same situation when it comes to neglecting your health. It's like, yo, you may not even be scared, but you got so many things you gotta take care of. You keep putting it to the back burner. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, you like, yeah, I'm gonna go to the doctor, but this gotta get done, and that gotta get done, and this gotta get done. Like, I agree with you 100%, Mr. Brown. Like, at some point,
if you're dead, you can't take care of shit.
Exactly.
I heard someone, maybe one of those motivational people on YouTube or whatever the fuck, say something like, you could choose to, say like eat shitty food, kind of like what you say.
Right. We
good shitty food.
Sodium level crazy right now.
Let's not even talk about alcohol.
I was going to say drink alcohol all the time to excess.
Right.
You could choose.
At least you got beer.
You could choose to not go to the gym. You could choose like to call out of work because you don't feel like it, or like give your minimum at work because you hate your job and all of that. Or choose to even, I don't think he said this part, but choose to even like spend your money on stuff that you really can't afford because quote unquote you deserve it.
Mm-hmm.
But like there's another side to that, in that like there's pain you're gonna feel after that. And so you might be trying to escape because like doing it the other way, eating healthy food or going to the gym or saving your money or whatever, saying no, I can't go out or whatever, might be hard. But one way or another, you gotta choose your heart. So either you're gonna choose.
Steve Harvey said that.
Yeah, it was a white guy I heard, but yeah, somebody.
Steve Harvey.
Touche. But yeah, like so, I think that's the thing to the health part, and just like really just trying to enjoy life. I oscillate back and forth between like trying to figure out how to maximize my dollar and fuck it, I'm gonna hustle, do my thing, and just enjoy life. But at the end of the day, like you gotta be like whatever you choose to do, you just want to make sure that you're proud of the choice you made.
Absolutely.
It's not even about the quote unquote success, whether you like made it big or however you measure success. It's about like regardless of the outcome, I listened to my gut and chose what I wanted to, what I thought was the right decision.
Yeah,
because I'm gonna tell you that dialysis is real. You know what I'm saying?
Dialysis
That being on chemotherapy is real.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, yo, look, you're right. You gotta find your line, because there's a line somewhere for everybody that's different, like between YOLO and being responsible.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man, you gotta figure out where you fall at for real.
It's all about balance, man.
Yeah, and I don't give a fuck what them billionaires that own the companies are trying to tell you. There is a balance to it. And balance isn't like every day. Sometimes you do have to be in balance for a while.
Yeah.
Over provision to one side
Right.
versus the other for a time, but it's supposed to be for a time, and over the long term, over the long term of the timeline, you want to try and find like some sort of balance.
Right.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Very well said, gentlemen.
And one other thing about that, like, yo, don't fall into that trap where they make you give up your whole life to serve them, because we've had this conversation many a times, but something happened to you and they replace you like nothing. So it's like, yeah, you do need them because you got to provide for your family and your people, but understand, yo, you just a number to these people.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So
I had a situation at work earlier this week. It was like an all-out argument at my low-paid part-time job, and like the lady quit on the spot and everything, and she was like the most tenured person in that area, the most knowledgeable and all of that. Man, that line kept moving like it was nothing for 10 minutes, and nobody was talking about it. It was like, so like I don't think there's anything wrong necessarily with putting a lot of emphasis, time, and focus into your work or your craft or your career.
Right.
I think there's something wrong. I think that there's something wrong with you putting too much time into something that you don't like, something that stresses you out, something that like.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, and I get we gotta do shit sometimes that we don't enjoy.
Right.
But like,
Stress
it has
is a
to
silent killer, man.
right,
Oh, yeah.
and you have to make the pain that you go through.
Worth it.
Yeah, there has to be an endpoint. Like, it has to be for a reason. You can't be like going to the warehouse job you hate every day because that's what you feel like you're supposed to do in life. Like, there has to be. I just feel like there has to be something. Some people may disagree, but yeah, man, health and choose to live life. And
you know what's crazy too? One other thing with that, I used to work at Home Depot when I was in college, and now we probably going on. That was 2010. We get 24. So that's like what, probably 14, 15 years ago.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It is.
Yo, Vilas.
Oh my god.
But like I went back like the other day because I had to get some stuff for the house, and like some of the same people still working there, and some of them are like on like all types of braces and
Oh my
crutches.
gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because lifting all that stuff is up and down, and I'm like, I know they're not paying them that much.
Nope.
And the one thing about Home Depot, well, they don't get out of paying you when it comes to that compensation time. So it's
Right.
like I'm looking at them, I'm like, yo, you know they ain't really sitting back. They all on these forklifts, taking down tubs and doing all types of wild cast iron tubs. Some of them and that. I'm like, yo,
insane.
I'm sitting back looking like, yo, I want to buy, yo, just stop. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Just stop.
like, yo,
And you
like,
probably feel bad for asking for like top shelf like stuff because you see that they can barely walk. But
Some
I tell him, I'm like, yo, look, I'll ask him, like, look, I can order this later. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
I don't need this right now. Like, you ain't got to rush this. I see you by yourself, like, yo, look, I'll just special order it, and then we'll just get it a couple days later, and you get some help getting this stuff down for that same
And
reason.
that's because you have empathy for it because you've been through it. I think, and that's why I've always felt like I wish there was a way to make it so that like every American had to spend at least a year working like some shitty like customer service or food service job, so that you could build a level of empathy when
Well,
people come in and are like abject assholes to you for reasons that's not even your fault.
well, see, that's the one thing about that. I mean, say what you will about Biden and Trump.
Yeah.
The one thing that no matter how you feel about them, one of them was a civil servant for
Absolutely.
a very long time.
Absolutely.
So there's an empathy there that Trump just doesn't have. You know?
And Trump
You know
don't
what I'm
pay
saying?
people. That was the other part about it. Like
Yeah.
he's like, I mean, again, if anybody has anything different, correct me if I'm wrong, but just Trump seems like the epitome of get it back in blood. You got so many people saying they did work for him and never got paid. And they
Yeah,
looking at it like, yo, by the time it goes to court, he's like basically like, yo, pay me. And he's like, you can go to court, but I can outpay you on court.
Right.
So you never getting that money back. So you
Right.
either going to spend that time and your own money trying to fight me to get paid,
Right.
or you can just write this off as an out.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Well, that's what
I.
that's what I've been
That's
saying for years. Like now, how much more clear can you see that you got to live for yourself at the end of the day, man? Stop waiting for the government to save you. They not
Always.
they're not gonna. But
No
but look, how to manage prices. How to manage prices.
No, for sure.
People go, egg is gonna be crack prices soon, yo. People gonna be sucking dicks for eggs, yo. Yo,
Suck dick for eggs.
Oh, you want an omelet? All right.
nigga, what's good?
Them yolks ain't the only things you gotta bust to get this eggs, this omelet, nigga.
You know what I'm saying?
My God.
My point in saying that is that
You know what's crazy? Like, you know, I got the eggs, I got the B12 in it. So you got the regular eggs, like, you want this B12 or not? What you want to?
Yo, I got these new eggs, yo. Like these ain't like the white ones; these the brown ones, nigga.
I will say this: performance and ideology aside, I will say that like if you want to juxtapose like Trump with Biden, Biden at least had a code. I think he fancied himself as wanting to do the right thing, which is more than, of course, you could say about Trump. Trump didn't have a code, and like he was only beholden to himself. Some people like that. Some people aspire to that. Some people are that.
Right.
It wouldn't have mattered like in like the election shit, but I think like if you're just looking at the person, I could at least respect somebody that has a code. Like what I said, like there's certain people I fuck with, certain rappers I like a lot, or like artists I look up to a lot because they, right or wrong, they consistent.
Right.
And consistency is important.
And I do think there goes something to be said for people that identify. Like, there are a good section of people that, I mean, I thought they were in a minority, but I think there's a significant section of people that are just like, yo, F everybody else, I'm all about me. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Well, I
And
think that's
a
where.
lot of Americans are like that because, like I said, all of that civil service stuff, all of that care about the other people thing, all of that paying taxes for stuff that I don't benefit from, is it is a privilege that you enjoy when the economy is good.
So,
when the economy
you know-
when the economy is bad, all of that, or when you don't know what you're gonna pay, like how you're gonna pay for the critical things that you need and all of that stuff, all of that other stuff that might be important to whatever small group of people suddenly doesn't matter anymore. And a lot of times that stuff that we care about, people or like we profess to care about, we care about because there's a benefit. When you add economic peril to it, all of a sudden those benefits go away. What's the first thing these companies did when Trump got in office? However you feel about DEI and its value and all of that, all of them lined up was like, yo, it's over for that shit. Like, like Mark Zuckerberg on Joe Rogan talking about we need to bring man shit back into the into business. It was like it's wild, right? Because they just was waiting around and you see
to see which way the boat tipped. Yeah, and I respect that. I respect that. You're a business. You gotta do what you gotta do.
But I would say that I would. And here's the thing, and I could be wrong because I haven't done the numbers and crunched the numbers to ration it out. But what I will say is that I don't know if that's necessarily the norm. Because the time where I've seen the most selflessness and willing to sacrifice myself for everybody else has always been the lower on the economic scale you go, the less selfishness you get.
Of course, like because that's the empathy.
The least selfish I've seen people was when I went to go feed the homeless. And it's like it's crazy because like you were saying, everybody's like, yo, F this, it's all about me. I remember we went out to feed the homeless. Like, shorty, like, they literally were like, we had trays of stuff. Mm-hmm. And we like, yo, get what you want. They getting little scoops, like, nah, I need to make sure whoever behind me got enough to eat, too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like.
Because they get it.
Right, so it's crazy to me just that, like, you got people that have less. They look out for each other more. And even if you lived in the hood, chances are you didn't give your neighbor something, your neighbor didn't give something to you. You know what I'm saying? Or they sitting back, hey, look, here's his juice. Hey, here's free icy. You know what I mean? Meanwhile, these billionaires fighting over what we would like what's pennies to them, they don't even want to give people that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like I feel like it's interesting that the higher up on the economic scale you get, the more selfish that people tend to be.
Lack of community.
I will take a cynic's side just for the sake of
I thought we were talking about politics anymore.
I know, right? It's all good.
Okay.
We wrap this part up with
Yeah. That's the checkered flag right there.
Yeah. Now, I mean, one of the topics we had on the list was here. Let me turn the pages here.
Is that an iPhone 15?
Flips page. No, it's 14.
God, we can't listen to you.
Judge your mind. Is that all politicians are dumb. So I think that wraps that up.
Yeah.
So
except for Jasmine Crowder, you solid. And Stacey Abrams, you solid.
Is that the takeaway?
I'll debate you on just Stacey Abrams, but Jasmine Crowder, I agree. That hey, check her flag.
All right, that's fair.
All right, so Mr. Brown, what else you had going on? You had a couple other topics you put up.
That's a good point. So so if you haven't been paying attention to the news, there was a situation a week or two ago, I believe. So basically, long story short, Caleb, the guy who got killed, his name's Caleb. I forget his last name. I had to look up. I can't think of it at the moment. But he was someone who was pledging a fraternity at Southern University. And, it came out that obviously he died after some sort of hazing incident. So, obviously this is something that's still actively being investigated now. And, of course, when the news broke out initially, like online at least, you had the kind of like the extreme reactions, I guess. Like, you had the some people we need to ban all frats and sororities. Like, you heard that. You heard those extremes. Yeah. And then you had the frats and sororities, more so focusing on being defensive versus talking about this actual incident. No, it's not all frats, not all sororities. Da, 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 da. And I'm like, bro, y'all sound like the police when they say.
I'm about to say,
yeah, exactly.
There's a few bad apples.
Frat lives matter.
And I feel like this is a constant thing that's been the thing with fraternities and sororities specifically, hazing, that's always been a subject of contention, and I think so. Obviously, I want to talk about this particular story because when I heard the details, I'm like, oh my god, it's awful.
What were the details?
So what's come out now, I think, so far is that he died because he was basically punched so hard in the chest that he had a seizure.
Cardiac. Sent him into a seizure or something.
Yeah, sent him into a seizure, and then where he ultimately succumbed to the injuries. And allegedly what's being said now is that, obviously multiple people had to be involved because it wasn't his body was essentially moved They changed his clothes. I don't know if he was wearing fraternity memorabilia, and then they probably like, take about this shit, and then moved them elsewhere to where his body was found. And so obviously, and even now, I'm sure there's some kind of there's been one arrest made so far. Now, is he just the fall guy that the frats like throwing to the wolves? Like, y'all take, you gotta take rap for this shit, nigga.
Ain't nobody.
Or gonna be more arrests to come.
So it says one arrested, more suspects sought after, Southern University fraternity hazing death.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I don't see. I mean,
it's a lot. It's a lot to this, and then like I saw a conversation recently that on Breakfast Club interview with Jim Jones that he said something along the lines of like, yeah, I'm in a gang. I'm a gang member. We're not actively gang banging, I guess, but I'm in a gang member. I'm in a gang. What's the difference between what I do in a fraternity and sorority? If I went to college,
big difference.
It's just very extreme. Yeah. Everybody kind of has that extreme reaction, like I mean, but
I need to watch that Jim Jones interview.
Side, like, does he have a point here where it's like, look, obviously, like you can't even argue like frats and gangs, frat. Because some people, that's what big people say online. Like fraternities are the new gangs, basically. Fraternities and sororities are the new
college
gangs.
gangs.
They're basically legal college gangs. Which, in hindsight, hearing that, it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? But is there something to that to a degree? Because we all know now, obviously, like we. You know what I'm saying? But I'll put it like this. Like, so obviously, like we've all heard this. We all know some shit goes down when you gotta join a frat sorority, right? What you gotta do to prove your worth, right? And I'm not Greek, so I can't speak to it, obviously. There was a period of time when I was in college where I was approached once, but I ultimately was like, nah, I don't think so. But you know what I'm saying? Like, obviously, like, we've all heard the stories of hazing, and
right.
what's like I said, what is the line when it comes to that? Should there be a line? Should hazing be abolished? Period. Like, there's a lot of questions. Like, I feel like we're at a point now where there should be at least some because this isn't the first time this has happened.
Yeah.
There's been numerous instances throughout the years of just extreme, either like so there's been death from fraternities, whether it's a violence or you make somebody drink too much alcohol and they die from alcohol poisoning, or stories with the sororities, like there was like a whole sex ring, I think with the AKAs, like what? So like it was like low key like
she went to
sex
college.
trafficking.
She went to college now, don't you?
Imagine.
So so obviously there's some conversation to be had, and like
I can see B. Lies and like, yes, big brother.
Right. So there's all kinds of stuff that's been on the
That's so crazy.
And every and we had to preface this by saying like obviously
every chapter is not the same. Every chapter is not.
You know what I'm saying? But I think there has to be conversation on the topic of like, all right, there needs to be some kind of change at some point, or should there be some change when it comes to like the pledging process and what you gotta do and hazing should hate like. Should we even be hazing at this point? Like, I don't know. I don't know the answers.
Well, let's defer to the one made Greek out here. You know what I'm saying? Let's defer.
Violet, where's Violet?
Say, man. I heard you were in a frat.
No, I think that. So I think to the last question that Mr. Brown asked, there's two nuances to it. You say like, should there no longer be hazing? Do you mean from like a legal perspective?
Well, I think so. I think like
spoke like a true frat member, like
no,
because we're an incorporated organization.
So I don't know.
Like, what are you saying?
It's weird because I know what hazing is, but if you ask me to define it, I can't.
No, so
I mean,
that's a good point.
Well, so
should you be fucking people up, basically?
Not even. Hazing can be something as simple as you're told, you and however many people are told that you're required to meet at this location on these days at this time, until further notice.
Yeah, but sometimes that could be. But sometimes people take that hazing as meet me in the desert. Like you'll be blindfolded.
Yes, and that too is.
And we're gonna butt fuck you, and you can't scream.
Because that's obviously like what some people think happens. Like now, obviously,
but some people consider that the norm. Like that's just your way of.
I don't want to talk like too much about specifics. I guess with hazing.
Yeah.
We know.
Well, that's just an extreme.
We can't really talk about it. Obviously.
So I'll say this too. I think there's hazing going on in any paramilitary structure that you have, whether that's D9, whether that's police, whether that's fire. Usually there's always some type of hazing going on. I think you have to weigh the options on if you want to do it or not. I think it's something to be said for going through it, because I think we talking about it offline. My thing is, should you decide to join the organization, you don't want to be the one that can't go around certain people or be talking to certain people because your process was easier than their process. Again, I'm speaking of a civilian as fuck, so keep it in mind.
yes.
But and also I will say, like, even with the fire department, there's a certain amount of hazing that goes on. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna imagine with the police, it's the same thing. I mean, we always see it in college. I mean, you see people going through different stuff. I think that you just have to. I think there's a gray line that people don't. That everybody draws differently. You know what I'm saying? But I will say this: I don't think that you can put D9 and a gang on the same thing, because gang life, you already forfeiting your life in a sense. Like, you already know what you're signing up for. You know that you're putting your life on risk. I think that for D9, essentially what you're saying is, y'all want to serve the community.
That's Divine 9 for y'all who don't know.
Yeah.
Divine 9. Black. Historically black.
Alpha, Sigmas,
Yes.
Qs, Kappas, SG, Rho, Zetas.
Yeah, the gang and fraternity thing is an overconflation, because the most important part of something being like defined as a gang is the engagement in criminal activity.
Right.
Which, you know, of course, if hazing is occurring, hazing is inherently illegal, but that's not the inherent purpose of the organization.
Right.
So just to kind of give,
and to be fair, gangs, some of the gangs, like especially Crips and Bloods, they weren't initially brought out to do criminal activity. Like, they were an extension of Black Panthers. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, I feel like to that point, it's you. Like I said, I mean, what they do now and what they were supposed to represent is different.
Yeah, Bloods and Crips started out as community organizations that evolved into
What
what they are today.
Well, same thing with the mob too. The mob was was really a bunch of like
The Italian mob?
Yeah.
No, they been fucked up. They
did-
out fucked
Well,
up.
they
Their official statement was good, but they were always
well, they were born out of you're right. So there wasn't really much altruism,
Right.
to it, but they took what was established in because I think it was the time before Italy was formed into like one nation, but they like brought that concept over through immigration, like when people like immigrated.
If I'm
here
not
during the
mistaken,
early 20th century.
Hamas and the mob were similar in that sense, where it was like some political stuff, and then they were like, "We gonna back our own community."
Yeah.
They got corrupt, and then they just
Yeah, that's how it starts.
Because when anyone gets power, how that happens. But whatever Uncle Ben said. So to kind of give some context. So one interesting fact is there is no federal law against hazing, non-military hazing. There's federal law against military hazing, but nearly every state in the country does have some sort of law, some sort of anti-hazing law, in the sense of what we're talking about, which is non-military groups like fraternal organizations, what have you. And the definition from a non-military perspective is any activity expected of someone joining or participating in a group that humiliates, degrades, abuses, or endangers them, regardless of their willingness to participate. So essentially you could still be criminally responsible for hazing if
somebody volunteered.
Even though they're signing up for it, they know what
right.
they're signing up for, but
right.
still.
So that whole people know what they're signing up for thing is not a legal argument. It's not a counter to the legal perspective of it. And I think, that's why I asked that question, because me asking that question of like, do you mean legally or what have you, can sound like I'm about to defend some shit.
No, right. You got to.
Yeah, it's important to
get the nuances
to detangle this, like the components, because there is a legal aspect of it, and so hazing has been illegal in some form at state level across various states since the early 90s, which is why you have the whole concept of like you hear about like in the 80s and before there was pledging quote unquote above ground, and now you have quote unquote underground pledging and things like that, and every organization will say that you can go to any website from the Divine Nine, they have some blurb about how they are a non-hazing organization.
Can I just say one thing real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yo, like anybody's been to HBCU, like you've seen this one dude that's on a frat, like he'd be like 80 years old, hollering at somebody 30-something-year-old, like, what you know about this 92 line, girl?
If
you go back to HBCU homecoming,
you go to
you know what that is. They that's their reliving the glory days. Like,
they be on that Roman Reigns shit, the original bloodline, girl.
Yeah, you go to Morgan's homecoming.
Word.
So there's the legal aspect of it, and there's a cultural aspect of it, and the cultural aspect of it even has its subsections where you have like Greek life culture, and then you have like we're just going to keep the scope to the Divine Nine, and you have black culture because there's also like a separate white culture, like the college.
Sure.
Oh, absolutely.
I went to the University of Maryland, College Park, and like College Park has a huge, or at least at the time I went there, they had a huge fraternity presence. You have frat row, you have sorority row. They have these whole big houses that look like mansions for different organizations and things like that. But from the perspective of like the Divine Nine thing, like the cultural perspective is, what Flash kind of part of it he alluded to in the sense that like, someone that joins an organization doesn't want to be the person who quote unquote skated and just kind of signed a piece of paper to become part of the organization because when you're amongst other members of your organization, there may be questioning or there may be judgment cast upon you. I tend to not be in favor of those judgments because I tend to hold the philosophy that anybody that's interested in joining an organization has zero control over whatever process they go through to join that organization. Mm-hmm. What they do after they join is that part is what's on them.
Yes.
Yeah. It's kind of like a weird microcosm of human life, right? Like the way you're brought into the world and how you're reared as a child, you have no control over. What you do once you're a fully formed adult, after that, however fucked up or great your childhood might have been, that part is on you. So like the fraternity sorority thing is kind of similar. How one is brought into an organization, they're not really responsible in the sense of what happens. It could still, by a legal definition, be hazing, likely is. But at the same time, what they do after the fact matters to them. Now,
but what can I ask a question real quick? So, like the analogy of you having a baby, like you're not being brought into this world, right? You don't have a choice over that, right?
Yeah, I mean, so that's why I call it microcosm because, like, of course, people have a choice of whether they choose to join a fraternity or sorority.
No. I'm feeling what you're saying, but what I'm saying is, it's not your choice to be brought into the world, but like the people who are bringing you into the world are responsible to get you to that point. So like, if you get pregnant, you can't, you're expected not to be smoking, to be drinking, you know what I'm saying, all that, so that you can have a safe passage to make your own journey.
Add one point to that?
Yeah.
And by all means, like I said, Vinny, you only one that's official, so if I overspeak, tell
That's
me
true.
to fuck up, it's not a problem.
Man,
That's
y'all
true.
need to throw
But-
shade here. Everybody got an opinion and has had an experience.
So, but for what I've been told is the other problem with that is when I was thinking about what you talking about as far as people bringing you into the world,
Right.
same way you got some messed up parents, like the people that might be bringing you into that organization might be on some fucked up shit. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like, so
Well, the choice-
when they sitting back, they bring you into this process, but they might not be right. Like, they might not be able to go certain places.
Well,
you know what I'm
this-
saying? And then they bring you in and you under them and they looking at you like, oh, this the one that she was fucking with? Like, we don't fuck with you, so now you sitting back looking crazy like, well, damn. We didn't did all this shit, but they ain't do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then you sitting back looking crazy. So to your point, you're right. You don't have any say over who brings you in, but I feel like that's where the complication can sometimes come in. From what I've been told.
But the people who are responsible for your initiation process, that's the key that tends to be forgotten, I think, by some people, is that they are responsible for it. You are, as someone who is a member of that organization already, a representation to those people who are interested and now candidates for admission into the organization.
Right.
You're directly setting the tone for what their experience will be like within that organization.
Right.
And so I think there's a responsibility. There's a huge responsibility to that. I think first and foremost, like no one should die. I think that's a pretty simple rule that we can all agree to.
Yeah.
That death and bodily injury and mental injury is not things we should aspire towards when you are trying to find those that you would deem as qualified for joining an organization that you proclaim to care about.
Right.
I think the second most important part when you're talking about someone joining an organization as an undergraduate is that GPA should not suck. Under no circumstances should anyone's GPA be below a 3.0 the semester that they are in consideration to as a candidate to join an organization.
Right. Because that shows a lack of discipline right there.
I would really wager 3.5. Because
to be fair, but you can't be bringing a nigga in and you got a 2-1. Tell him about you need a 3-0.
Well, that's the other thing. They also have to, but I mean, that's up to the chapter, like who they choose
Sure.
and stuff like that.
Sure.
Yeah, you should be able to, because this is an extracurricular activity. This is something that is beyond the scope of why you are even there at the university in the first place.
So, like maybe an active update of how your grades are going till you get to that minimum requirement.
Yeah, you shouldn't even be considered to be online. Like it doesn't matter how cool the person is, like because you're doing a disservice to them if someone has a 2.1 GPA and they talking about I'm pre-med and now they about to get online the same semester that they have organic chemistry. Like there's a disconnect here.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
right.
And so you are doing. It doesn't matter how badly they want to do it. I don't care how many generations of their family was in that organization.
Oh, yeah, 'cause that's
that's the thing. That's the one of the main
You are
things.
doing them a disservice. That person, because if all these organizations, broadly speaking, have overlap, it's to the same ideals that they aspire to, some sort of academic excellence, some sort of brotherhood or sisterhood, fellowship type of thing, some sort of like outward reach to like bettering the community as a whole.
Yeah.
Bringing someone like doing someone like that a disservice only just serves to go against the very ideals you purport to like stand
Sure.
on.
Right.
Now, all of that said, this situation will be like used and abused in a way to like advance people's like
Agendas.
like various agendas. There was already some, I call it just because of the amount of people of the popularity it gained. There was already like some sort of broad like trend, so to speak, that you see on TikTok and online where people were renouncing their letters.
I saw that. Yeah.
For religious purposes and things like
Oh,
that.
I did see that. Yeah, I did. I'm sorry, I did. I remember.
You know, and that sort of kind of was I think there was like the reason, and part of why it was weird was because the one that I saw, and if I'm wrong in some of the details, my apologies, whatever, that the young lady or a group of young ladies joined a certain organization at Howard, and after they crossed, they then renounced their letters and kind of made a public spectacle of it.
Of course.
So
yeah.
that part is weird because you chose to
Go through the
actively
process and
apply, be an interest, pay all this money to then engage in this process, to complete the process, only to like I'm not sure if that was supposed to be some form of protest or
It-
what.
attention.
But it seems
It's
a
just
bit
attention.
Yeah, it seems
It's just attention.
it seemed more self-serving than anything. Now, someone who already joins an organization and through their own convictions decide that they want to do it, and if it's for religious reasons, the religious leader says that you need to do it publicly for whatever reason, personal choice. I don't have to agree with it,
Yeah.
right? But so I'm wondering where this goes as people begin to try to like take this, and the other problem I have with that is someone died, someone
Right.
lost their life. This kid will never get to graduate college, go on to live his life or anything like that. There's a family that is broken and torn apart.
Absolutely.
There
Right.
is a college community
Yes.
where I believe he was a member of the band and things like that is torn apart. That will never forget this. And so I just never want to lose sight of that. Now,
Yes.
the people involved, whatever like comes with that is just going to have to come with that. I would presume that they have remorse. I would presume that the actions they took in the aftermath was a combination of panic,
Yeah.
Yeah.
self-preservation.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They're like evil people who just like purpose.
They pay out. Yeah, I agree with you.
But
They panicked and freaked out. And was like, yo,
right, exactly.
But what did I say earlier? If you've ever seen anything on TV, you know not to move the body.
I mean,
So I know what I'm saying is,
Your comedic timing is on point today.
thank you. Like,
I'm just saying, you gonna kill a nigga.
like if you've ever watched TV, even like a cartoon will show you do not move the body. You know what I'm saying? That's your self-preservation right there. Don't move the body.
So
Don't try to cover it up.
So can I just say this too though, like, and this is really just speaking to the D9, like, I really hope they don't get. I mean, yeah, it's gonna be some blowback, but I hope they don't get too bad of a rap because I will say this: for whatever issues they got, right, and they're not perfect, you know what I mean. But when it comes to dealing with issues and dealing with black people and black society, like, they're always on the forefront. You know what I'm saying? Like, chances are, if you look at anybody, Martin Luther King, Jesse Jackson, whoever, yeah, man, Kamala Harris,
Alpha
like,
Q,
yeah,
AKA
man,
Jose Q.
right. So, like, when you look at these leaders, 8 times out of 10, they're in some type of fraternity that was D9. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, they not perfect, but understand when it comes to dealing with black issues, especially, they are always at the forefront. So, yeah, they got to get their talking to you because they messed up, and yeah, they got to get them consequences. But you can't use that as a scope for the entire D9 because they definitely push forward black
And
progress.
I think what happened what's going on right now, Southern, I think, if I read it correctly, is that they right now have suspended, like,
I'm sure they probably
what was it?
Yeah, so the thing
At
is,
Southern
that-
University,
I
right?
will say that, like, from a ideological perspective, and we can land this plane. I do think that schools tend to. Oh God, this sounds bad. Like, there's no other way to say it because someone died, and that is important. But I do think schools tend to overreact when they cancel all student activities in that
Oh, right,
situation
yeah.
because I don't know that the badminton club band their activities need to be suspended while you investigate.
Gotta play softball. Why am I getting
right?
Yeah, right.
While you
Well, that's another. Yeah, people are they got scouts and that kind of stuff looking at them, and you're canceling.
So school, so like NCAA sports won't get canceled, but the
Of course,
but the
of course,
Too much money there.
of
But-
course.
And I'm
But
sure
the
sports
public-
got hazing going on.
yeah, like the
Some
art.
of it, some of it,
Well, my question is, how old are these people that are you basically giving control of your life to?
19 to 22.
Yeah.
And you're giving them control of another person's life? That's fucking insane.
These are kids, and then
These
like,
are these are basically young adults coming of age into adulthood.
To be fair,
yeah, I believe he was 20.
What I'm saying is the people, like a chapter president on grounds is like probably what?
yeah, it's all
20?
undergrad.
Oh, yeah,
So you
they're also
graduate,
gonna
if
be
you get in when you
college.
18, 19, 20, 21, 22,
But the guy
23.
So
that
that's
was arrested,
ridiculous.
the guy that was arrested is 25. So he was probably a recent graduate or something like that.
Right.
Or maybe of a school in the
No.
area or something. Who knows?
Yeah, it can't,
But-
yeah.
Yeah, I
makes
can't
sense.
speak to
So
that.
that's what
Yeah,
I'm
but-
saying. So what I was gonna say, like that's another reason that hazing should be monitored. You're telling 21-year-old kids.
But, so that's the thing I want to correct.
Yeah.
Hazing is monitored.
Okay.
I'm about to say, yeah.
And some schools
Yeah.
very closely, which is the whole thing that led to the advent of like quote unquote underground processing.
I see.
Because
Okay.
like a school's Greek life or just the school's administration can't keep watch of
Of
these
course.
adult like the kids, but they're adults with their kids 24/7.
Here's
And
what
so
I
that's-
imagine it's like, and I could be 100% wrong, right? This is in my mind what it imagines like. It's like, say that, yeah, I mean, I like you. I want to be cool with your friends or whatever, right?
Right,
I want to be
yeah.
part of your crew, and you like, yo, I know you know this teacher, but you like, yo, I want to be part of your group. Like, well, if you want to be part of my group, you gotta go outside and run this fade real quick. You know what I'm
Right,
saying? And then
yeah.
if you cool enough, then we'll rock with you. I'm gonna go outside. We gonna run this fade. You know what I'm saying? And then, prayerfully, I win or I hold my own, and then I'm part of your crew. We go from there. You know what I'm saying? Like as a teacher, they may know what's going on because they like, yo, look, I see what y'all got going on. It's whatever. You know what I'm saying? And it makes my life easier to let that happen. Now, if it keeps working out, cool. But then you get that one person that has epilepsy, and he's like, yo, I want to run this fade to be part of your crew too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then we step outside, and now I go into, like you said, a whole seizure. And now it's like, well, how long has it been going on? And what's been going on? And it's like, you might be taking care of your friends. You might be making sure that they all, getting their good grades. You might be making sure they all graduating on time. You might be doing everything, but because this person died, now you got some questions you got to ask. And I think that makes all the difference. Does it make sense?
Yeah, well, so if that's the case, then there has to be a safeguard of you're gonna be hazed, but you won't die.
I think that's the point.
You know what I'm saying? Like-
I don't know if you have a safeguard for that because how are you going to be able to tell? Like, it's not like I mean, I don't know for sure, but I would imagine you're already getting stuff checked before they say, okay, you can rock with us. You know what I'm saying? And I would imagine that, like, I don't know if you're going, like you say, if you're going underground, it's underground. You're already
Okay,
in the realm of
so if
higher
you're going
risk, you know what I'm
underground,
saying?
so there's a reason you're going underground because obviously something you're doing ain't copacetic.
For sure.
You feel what I'm saying?
Presumably or potentially.
So you already know you ain't doing right because you gotta go underground. You feel what I'm saying? So with that being the case, the person also got to make the choice. All right, look,
And that's the problem. I can make that choice willingly, but it still go left, and you still
The
going
greater
to
duty is on the organization. There's
Exactly.
organizational
Right. Well, that's
responsibility.
that's what I'm saying.
So it's to the.
But you're also, like I said, giving kids who probably never had power before. Because
sure.
That's what it is.
For sure.
You're giving these kids power over another person, and you don't know what kind of fucking.
Man, there was so many dudes I knew that was hoes before they joined the frat. And now, like, they joined the frat, and they're like, yeah, I'm like, you was a bitch. You been a bitch. Like, you ain't been tough since I've known you.
Right.
And
So-
now you think you tough.
So that's
you went to Poly. How the fuck you tough when you went to Poly?
okay.
Nah. I'm standing on that shit. Because there's two dudes I see in
what?
particular. I'm like, yo, you been a bitch. I seen you running home from school. You been a punk. You never been tough. And all of a sudden you played. You're like, yeah, no, you been.
But see, so
you been on it.
So going to that point.
Not everybody from Poly bitches. I'm just saying. But these two people in particular, they were.
Local conversation.
But what I'm saying is, so that being the point. Like, let's say it's a nigga that you had beef with, like in high school, whatever. You whipped their fucking ass. You know what I'm saying? You embarrassed the fuck out of them, right? So now you interested in joining that frat because you like, look, we all grown up now. We over this shit. You know what I'm saying? Right. That's my point. So like the incident we talked about punching this nigga, punching the nigga again. So like, all right, well, yeah, that's part of it. But that nigga right there, he won't get it more. I'm going to disguise it
For sure.
as this is just the norm. You know what I'm saying? But like a fucking Ray Rice nigga go and punch Brandon. You know what I'm saying? Because in my mind, fuck this nigga. But like, oh, you part of hazing, whatever. So like, but not knowing you can't handle a punch from Ray Rice. I'm sure you can, but I'm just saying you probably can't handle a punch from Ray Rice.
And
but it's under the mask of this is all just part of the
Again,
game.
I just use this as an example. Derrick Henry, you see that man on TV every day, stiff off of grown ass men that work out for a living.
Yeah.
For a living.
Right.
Very
Yeah.
Treating them like little kids.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, he's in a frat. So what happens if Derrick Henry decide he want to punch you in your chest? You know what I'm saying? Like, so I think that's part of the dynamic that comes into play.
Disclaimer:
You know what
we
I'm
are
saying?
not saying that Derrick Henry likes to punch.
Hey, no, for sure. Derrick Henry, I'm not saying that at all.
Get that
Now
message.
off the field,
all this is-
we're not there.
We're not even saying that. We're not even saying that either, Mr. Henry.
For sure.
You
All this
man.
is all this hypothetical, Mr. Henry. All this is hypothetical.
All the thoughts expressed by
Hey, yo,
the
call it a dude.
shared by Aubrey member.
Hey,
No, for real.
Calling a dude 10 years younger than you, Mister, is crazy.
That's wild. That's
Man,
wild.
he said it to you like,
Right.
I'm sorry, mister. I'm sorry, mister.
You know what? You got it. All right. So what's the takeaway?
Presidents.
Takeaway is D9. Y'all not terrible. We still respect y'all. We still back y'all. But y'all got to chill on some of this wildness. That's all we saying. Is that fair?
I think also some of these hazes these people get from like movies, like seeing these crazy ass movies from the 2000s. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's just like that's okay.
You know, the wildest
That's
one I've
totally
heard
fine.
about is like them taking somebody on the edge of a building that's like 7 feet up in the air and telling them to jump, but all they supposed to do is just jump and not jump off. But then, like, because they're not thinking, they jump off the building.
Fine, yeah, and I get that. That's a trust.
And that wasn't D9. That was a white one. So that's why I threw that one out there.
Well,
But
I'll never forget on Van Wilder when they had the guys blindfolded, and they told them that you have to step on this glass, and they can have all this, all these problems or whatever. Thank God Tara Reid was there and told him like it's just Doritos, and then the guy was like 1, 2, and then before the guy said 3, they started dancing on the Doritos. That shit was funny.
Yeah. So a good movie to go back and check out is Burning Sands. on
Yeah,
Netflix.
nah, for real.
Yeah.
I just checked. It's still
Yo,
there. It's
and-
pretty relevant now.
I like Road Timmy, and I will say this: I like Road Timmy as a person, but every time I see him in the show, I hate him. Like every time I see that man in the show.
Road Timmy is good at playing a character you hate.
No, for real.
All right. So what else do we want to talk about? Anything?
Well, what can I speak about? What do we do? Oh, we got. Can I speak on the?
50-50 joint.
Yeah.
So you mentioned we was talking about like movies about schools and stuff before.
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorite ones was it was about high school, but 10 Things I Hate About You.
Yeah.
Which is like had Alex Mack
Classic team.
and
And Gabrielle Union.
Yeah,
but like,
yeah,
what the funny thing
Gabrielle
is?
Union.
Alex Mack was primed to be like the star In fact, what's crazy is everybody else in that movie is a major star except Alan.
Yeah, I
Tudyk.
don't know what happened. What's her name?
Alyssa something.
Alanic?
Something like
Milano?
that.
No.
I say she's kind of cute.
She's probably.
But yeah, there was early Gabrielle Union in there and young Heath Ledger, by the way. But
R.I.P.
R.I.P.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Who became one of the biggest stars out of it.
Yeah.
Yo, at some point we gotta do an argument about who the best Joker is.
Julia
because
Stiles,
people
yeah.
get mad.
Oh wow.
There's no argument.
There's no argument.
I got
Mark Hamill
Exactly.
from the animated Batman.
Which one was on Suicide Squad? That was my favorite Joker.
Oh wow.
Jared
That's your favorite Joker?
Most people hate that joke.
Really? He's my favorite Joker.
Oh,
He's
really?
my favorite Joker. I love that Joker.
So, Gabrielle Union, who was in that movie, I guess that we was talking in pre-production, and Mr. Brown and V-Loz brought up something that I guess her and Dwayne Wade, her husband, was talking about.
Yeah, so I think okay. So I'm gonna go back to the conversation from several years ago that started a whole lot of discourse online about this concept of like, okay, you know, I guess when she was speaking about their marriage or relationship, whatever, I guess it somehow came up during the interview, and she more or less said something along the lines of, yeah, we kind of do it 50-50 in our household, which then sparked all kind of crazy online debate, as shit tends to do. But you know, she actually oddly enough got like backlash for it from some people because it was like, how are you playing 50-50 with a dude who's worth, you know, hundreds of millions of dollars?
Mind your broke ass.
You know, this is where it was. That's where that shit came from, and like that's what V-Loz was saying. It's almost seemed like she's kind of flipped it now, right from whatever's recent.
Yeah, apparently she pulled that back and is like, it's just she said that it was 50-50 because she experienced sexual trauma, and that was a way of embracing her empowerment and not letting
like traditional gender roles.
well, like that, and not letting a man have control over her, I think. Which is fine, you know, whatever. But like, for one, I don't know. Is she saying that? Is she saying her empowerment now is that Dwayne Wade can pay for everything? Like, is that,
So now she's saying that. And before at first she was saying.
Are you looking this up?
Yeah.
So at first she wanted to do 50-50.
Right.
And now she's saying that her way of empowerment is, she's saying because of the trauma, now she doesn't want to pay anything.
No, the trauma led to her doing 50-50, so a man wouldn't have control.
So, but now she's healed, she doesn't want to pay. Got you.
So the quote, I'm just looking through this. So Union said, explaining that her desire for control was a trauma response. It's never wanting to be out of control or so out of control that I don't have control over what's happening to my body. And 50-50 is I'm not going to be vulnerable enough to trust you with 100% of anything. Not my heart, not my cash, not my energy. So she was saying that like her desire for 50-50 was initially a trauma response to, and she says, it says she continued, I realized that so much of my anxiety, I was diagnosed with PTSD after being sexually assaulted at 19, the extreme anxiety.
Understandable.
The anxiety attacks being hyper-focused on efficiency and time and being fiercely independent are trauma responses, and they're just a lot of days that I have 10% and I need him to be at 90. There are days I just don't have shit and I need him to be 100. Sorry, I was reading choppy over that, but it's like it's a quote from someone talking. So.
Yeah,
I got you.
But yeah, so essentially,
as bad as I was initially.
yeah. So essentially,
Right.
it's a shout out to the internet and being able to verify before we make asses of ourselves on recording the conversation. But yeah, she's essentially saying that she had this experience. She was sexually assaulted at 19, and she had what has now been diagnosed as PTSD. And in response to that trauma, her, I guess, taking control back or having control was, nah, I don't give a fuck what the money looked like. We splitting shit down the middle, 50-50, because I always want to be in control of the situation. You're not going to have control over my body, not going to control over my bread, none of that. And now I guess what she's saying that she's cool with it not being 50-50 is, and maybe we need to look into more of her quotes, is that that's her kind of healing and moving on from what initially was a source that's trauma.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got you. I get what you're saying.
So
Well, I mean, it's a,
If I'm,
good.
I'm sorry.
I was gonna say, this is a constant like debate in general. Well, it's a constant debate in general. I think we don't have a one of us presently.
Yeah.
So,
but I think, but generally speaking, I think the whole idea of like the traditional wife and like basically, essentially, the role. If you're a homemaker, right? You know what I'm saying? It's like I guess the argument is like, okay, if your husband is the one who has the money, who has the job, pays the bill, blah 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 blah. Ultimately, he's in control of everything going on, and then I think what happens, maybe I've heard, we've heard horror stories where like, let's just say, let's just say you're a trad wife. Mm-hmm. Your husband ultimately up and decides to just leave you one day. It leaves with nothing.
Wife?
That's a term now. Trad wife.
oh my God!
Traditional wife.
You're saying stay at home wife.
Oh, I thought you said trap wife.
No, trad.
Oh, I thought you said trap wife.
I got you.
If you like put them trad wife on TikTok, you'll see all kind of shit. I think that it's one famous couple in particular right now. It's this light skinned black girl and this white guy, Nara Smith. I didn't even hear that. The point being, like, obviously, I think where her fear and some women's fear of ultimately maybe like truly handing over the reins is, like, all right, well, look, this nigga can fuck around and just leave me one day with the side chick and leave me with nothing.
Yeah.
And because I didn't work for 10, 20 years in this marriage. Yeah. I'm at such a disadvantage because I get that mentality.
Yeah. Hold on. Yeah. Now, what were we talking about earlier? We talked about 80-20. You can't get everything you want in this life. You can't just sit around and stay home all day and be taken care of. And then if the person who essentially is in control, when he leaves, you still get to live the lifestyle that you
I think that's clearly how this shit breaks down with like divorces.
And I like
the argument becomes like, or that's why if you're the person who isn't the breadwinner, you have that. That's why that can potentially be in your favor. Like, well, look, I've been out the workforce for a decade. Yeah. It's going to be hard for me to re-enter the workforce. Right. You know what I'm saying?
But see, but whoa, you don't.
Which.
You feel very strongly, but
people are about to have a stroke.
I'm having an aneurysm.
I do feel like there sometimes is a lack of respect for like stay-at-home moms. So I don't want to go in that route.
I'm not saying there's.
I know you're not going there.
No. What I'm saying is, What I'm saying is,
in today's society, in all honesty, for average people, that's not even an option these days for most part.
That's real.
Right.
That's true.
But but again, you can't have it all ways. You can't hate your husband for working to take care of everybody, and then complain he's not home. You can't.
That's a common complaint.
That's very common.
Well then, if you lighten the load, yes,
that's where compromise, balance, and all that other shit comes in.
And that's why I feel like, like everybody's situation.
And that's what I'm saying. There's no right or wrong answer here with what you want to do with your household.
Yeah, and like I feel like that's the danger with putting stuff on the internet.
Oh,
because
they're gonna hold you to it. They're gonna hold that.
Like
you said this XYZ.
Exactly.
And then, not that people can change. Opinions can change. They can go through different shit.
And they don't know what's going on with y'all situation. So they just like, well, you got this. You don't know how much I had to pay in taxes. You don't know how much, you don't know what Gabrielle Union made off per movie. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So you don't know what endorsements or whatever's going on with Dwayne Wade. It's like, sure, at the end of the day, y'all don't know. Yeah. It's just that y'all see y'all stuff, so now y'all sitting back, minding their business, and it's like it's a 50-50 problem because they put it out there for everybody, so now everybody can critique it. You know what I'm saying?
So to potentially add more fun to this conversation, it's reported, because we know all the networks that are reported online are 1,000% accurate. That D Wade's net worth is approximately 170 million.
So I don't care if you're going 50-50.
Gabrielle Union's is approximately 40 million.
So right. So at the end of the day, if I'm D Wade, I don't care if we going 50-50. You my wife. We got a whole family. I don't care if you work or not. Like, if you said 170 million?
Yeah.
If I got 170 million, we married. Sure, I really don't care. You can either go to work or don't. You know what I mean? Like, we good either way. It don't matter. Now, we both making $40,000 a year. That's a different conversation.
So
you know what I'm saying? But like, yo, if I'm making 170 million,
You know, it's funny
I genuinely don't care.
So that's funny. Some people do have that arrangement that are only making $40,000 a year.
And I get that. And that's a different conversation. That's an argument that you can have. But if we both making enough, we can support our family, and you don't want to work, and I'm already got enough bread that we gonna be good. Why do I care if you go to work or not?
I think that
I don't know. I truly believe that idle mind is the devil's playground. So like, you know,
But you can still invest some money and do some different stuff. Like, yo, you can do the Michelle Obama No Fat Kid Left Behind and start up a nonprofit or something. You know what I'm saying? Like,
was that a thing?
I'm sure I'm changing the title of the episode. That's the title of the episode.
Oh my
Most
God.
most fat kids do get left behind.
Yeah, because they're fat and slow.
That's right. Yeah. You ain't picking up first in the relay race.
Lord have mercy.
just saying, bro. Like,
But no, I'm just saying as a person. No, I'm just saying like as a person.
Lord forgive hostess for making all of the Twinkies.
I'm just saying as a person who works hard to be successful, it's not an easy thing. You know what I'm saying?
So let me ask you.
So
this.
if I was married, and you're expecting just to just now, it could be a different thing. Like
So can I ask you a question?
Sure.
You're Jeff Bezos, right?
Well, some people say so.
You finish your statement, and I'll explain why that's a bad example.
Okay,
An
fair.
extremely bad example.
Okay, so you're Jeff Bezos. You're married, right? And your wife is like, yo, I don't want to work. Are you gonna be like, yo, you need to work, or you like, yo, I don't really care?
So, how much did Jeff Bezos' wife get in that divorce?
So Jeff Bezos' wife got half of his net worth at that time, which I think his net worth was $60 billion. So she got $30 billion, and I think he made that back within 3 months.
That's what I'm saying. So like, right? So I mean, so
I don't know whose point I just proved.
No, I'm just
but
saying,
it's
like,
not the
right.
example.
And I'm just
You
saying,
ain't prove
like,
it.
so let's say, I'm just
You ain't
saying,
prove it.
let's just saying, like, divorce, we leave out the like pre-divorce, right? Like, there's no divorce coming down the cards. You generally are worth however many billion. Let's
But
say
you can't do that.
No, I'm just saying.
It will always be. It will always be it'll always be a.
Oh, sorry.
So
So
it was a
around-
possible result of marriage.
So, point of clarification: it was his net worth was around roughly 150 billion. So she got about 60 or so billion.
okay.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's more
And-
reasonable.
And he made all of that back, and so his net worth was cut in half to say what 65 billion, and his y'all want to guess?
I'll give you this-
what his current net worth is today?
Something crazy.
It's 260, right?
215.
That-
So he's
Exactly.
worth. He's worth.
Exactly.
He's
You think he's feeling that? You
four
think Jeff
times
Bezos is really feeling
what
that?
he was worth when he got the
Honestly,
Like, yo.
honestly,
And hold on, and shout out to Rick Ross. She was with him shooting in the gym.
True.
You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
that's-
Like, so it's like my thing is, it's like, yo, if I'm making billions, do I really want you to go work of $50,000? Have a much job? If we
don't gotta do that.
I'm already making enough to support both of us. Why do I care if you
So
work?
let me ask you a question. Does that mean that you don't contribute to the continued wealth at all?
I mean, you can watch the kid. I mean, why do I like? Here's my thing, right? If we got married, right? I already decided
Oh,
that,
that's
yo.
progressive of y'all.
I thought we were just friends, but that's a revelation.
Boss, no Diddy.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh
Like,
no!
So what
No,
tells?
dude.
What's that thing Diddy used to say? You just close your eyes.
Take
It,
that,
it,
take that.
it'll almost be over. It'll almost be over.
Now, what do you say? Like, what do you tell Fabulous? I like when you scrambling and scraping for stuff.
I like the way you
I
do
was
that,
like-
Daddy.
I was like, hey, yo, you see Fabulous' face? He was sitting back. He was just like, hey, yo, he didn't know what to say. All
right
They all-
right,
But yeah,
I digress. But
Yes.
my point being is just that, yo, if you are making billions, do you really feel like your wife needs to work? If you already billions in, like, if we already good for life, why do I care if you work or not? Like, why do I need you to work at Target or wherever it is, or even if you're making $500,000 a year, we in the billions. Why do I care if you work or not?
I think.
But
that,
I really sit on that thing like, okay, and I swear to God, I'm not taking anything away from stay-at-home moms. Right?
I got you.
The main thing of a stay-at-home mom is definitely in the mindset of when the children are first born, right? You definitely need somebody to, to take care of the baby, whatever. So when they're in school, you got all this time to, I'm not going to say do nothing, but you're definitely not, it's definitely not when a guy goes out and works and all that kind of stuff. Now, talking about Jeff Bezos for a second, right? I'm sure that Jeff Bezos definitely, when he's first coming up, was definitely like, we in this together, you know what I'm saying? He probably definitely didn't expect to be worth, what?
200 whatever billion.
Yeah.
So that sounds cute, you know what I'm saying? When you make your first million, you're like, it's a million, whatever. We there's no chance of divorce. We're in this together. We love each other, whatever. And I'm going to work as hard as I possibly can to make sure that we never have to work again, right? I'm going to make sure that we got a house, we got cars, and whatever we get past my goal is just a life bonus, right? Now you're worth 200 and probably what before the divorce? Probably two.
It was 150 before the divorce.
Okay, so 150 billion, right? Whatever happens between them. I don't know. I wasn't in the Bezos household for long. So now you're asking someone, unless they're your business partner, this person is saying, well, now I want 30 billion. You don't think he feels some type of way
30
like
billion for what? What you mean?
30 billion.
30 billion for what?
Because they're divorced.
In divorce.
That's what I'm saying, but you talking about divorce though. I'm talking about just in a general, because like Dwayne Wade and Gabby, they not divorcing. You know what I'm saying?
know that. You
Because they
don't
have
know that.
no. I'm saying they together right now. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not saying right.
No, they are together.
Right. I'm not saying that they going. I'm not saying that they won't divorce. I'm just saying as it stands right now, they are still together and they're still married. Right. So my thing is saying if that is the thing going forward. Like if you take us not getting divorced off the table, right? We together.
Right.
And I'm worth however many bills. At that point, why do I care if you work or not? Because my thing is, we already billions in.
I think you may not care, but some might, and I think that's the takeaway from this whole marriage thing. I think that I said this to y'all earlier that marriage, there's nothing logical about marriage.
I agree.
When you think about how it's constructed, at least in this country, let's focus on the U.S. There's way too many variables. When someone does decide to get divorced, even if it's just like y'all don't like each other anymore, what happens in that divorce comes down to how rational both sides are, who has what lawyer, if one or both sides even have a lawyer, and what judge you draw. There's so many variables that have nothing to do with anything and what the outcome is. And so I think one of the best things you could do is like look what people do in their marriage, how they choose to structure the finances and the distribution of responsibility with the kids, how often they fuck, all of that is just going to come down. It's a case by case basis. But when it comes to like what may become an eventual like end of a relationship or a marriage, I think that you have to go into it understanding that it is a virtual certainty that you are going to lose when you exit that marriage. It might be emotionally only, but for some it's likely, especially if you're a breadwinner, financially and emotionally. So you just have to be prepared, and a lot of us don't know that because you're raised. You see, like our society is like looks at marriage.
You're not raised to prepare for divorce.
Yeah, it's looked at marriage is looked at as a matter of fact thing that you're supposed to do, and you're crazy if you don't do it until you get divorced, and then it's all of a sudden all your fault. That like why didn't you prepare for this beforehand? When everyone thinks someone is evil if they want to ask for a prenup. So like you have to go into it prepared that I'm going into this only to either be the same or lose.
Right.
And I'm okay with that because of how I feel about this person. Okay. And I'm okay with making this completely irrational decision that I know is based solely on feeling. And if I lose, I am today accepting that, whether that's a year from today, or 10 years from today, or 20 years from today. It just is what it is. I know I'm making a bad decision from a logical perspective. So if Gabrielle Union thought 50-50 is what I want, and it's because of a trauma response, and now today she's more healed, so she's like, actually, nah, cool, and it has nothing to do with the fact that her husband is worth more than 4 times what she's worth.
Yeah, that
Like,
has,
and
that
that's
has
not a
nothing to do
shot.
with it.
That's not a shot.
Yeah, that has
That's
nothing
what
to
it
do.
is.
That has absolutely nothing to do with it at all.
Then look, like
At all.
So
that
if you
just
don't
is
win,
what
what
it is.
do you do then? So
Well, can I just say one thing that I was going to go back to the Jeff Bezos thing that you were talking about. I don't give a fuck how much you're worth. When you're writing that $30 billion check to someone you're divorcing, you feel some type of way about that.
Seems like I'm staying a little bit.
Because I mean, just from a lower level perspective, you know how much you worked hard to get that, even if it's just because what your evaluation is. You know how hard you worked to get that kind
So
of.
I don't know the answer to this question, but did she help him with the business?
I mean, I'm sure
I think she did. I think she did. I think that's on record.
So I mean, that's probably why she got what she got. Though. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
very true. That's very true.
And again, like I said, I didn't go into details.
And I
of
think
that
there's
stuff,
differences
but-
between like when you're entering a marriage where like ultimately let's just y'all start off on either playing ground, but if someone who ultimately becomes a breadwinner progresses and you with him when he progresses and contributes to his progression, that's one thing. Whereas versus someone just marrying someone who's already rich off the rip,
right?
and you're coming into it, and I'm not going to call that person a gold digger. It's just that it's two different scenarios.
No, for sure. And I mean, even like with Jay-Z and Beyonce, I'm sure Beyonce does to us because she feels like it, not because she has to. You know what I'm saying? I think that they're good, but it's like, I mean, I don't know. I
You think
it's,
Jay-Z would put up with that? You think Jay-Z would say you never have to do music again? You think Jay-Z would do that? I absolutely do not.
And the reason I say that and again, I'm not Jay-Z, but I just feel like.
But there are clearly people who count on equal playground, kind of.
Yeah.
So it's like.
And also at the same time, I think Jay-Z probably looking at it like, yo, we got kids, we got a family, like, yo, they got enough money where they will be good forever. You know what I'm saying? Like, and the same with Beyonce right now. Whatever they decide to do now, they have enough money, they will be good forever.
Right.
Deals like they all have lucrative income, and it's like residual. Like, look, I can sit at home and no bread still coming in. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, to that point, I don't think he cares if she does another tour or not. I think she does it because she feels like it, not because she has to.
You don't necessarily got to do a tour, but doing something.
I mean, but again, so I guess my question is, at the end of the day, if you're worth $40 billion and your girl's like, yo, look, I don't want to work anymore. Are you saying, no, you need to go get a job, or if so, doing something? Or what's your response to that?
If I have a corporation,
Listen, you bet you gonna work HR.
you're gonna work the mailroom. I mean, but there has to be some kind of contribution to the house, cause just.
So she has to work doing something.
So let me ask you a question: If you're Jeff Bezos, right, and you coming home, because from what I know, Jeff Bezos, even though he stepped down as CEO, the guy still works. He's not sitting at home with his feet up.
He can't. He got too much under his. He got too much he has to oversee.
Right. So if you're Jeff Bezos and you're coming home from a long day at work, right, and your stay-at-home wife is giving you shit about something simple like you ain't take out the trash, what do you think your first response is?
I don't think that
be?
she would do that. I mean, I get your point, but I don't think
not
that.
literally taking out the trash, but like you're never home.
I imagine
what would be the main thing? You're never home.
So here's the thing, and that's a legit point. But I also imagine that when you get to that level, that your stay-at-home wife duties change. Like if you look at Barack and Michelle Obama, Michelle's not just a stay-at-home, take out the trash type of wife.
Right.
Like she genuinely got his back. I'm sure she's a lawyer. I'm sure she's looking over contracts. Like your duties change.
You're doing
as
something,
opposed
but
to
you're
as
contributing.
Right,
You're
but
contributing.
right, and I get
You're
that.
contributing
You know what I'm
to the
saying?
continued success.
No, for sure. But that's what I'm saying. But at the end of the day, like when you get to that level, your wife carries a brand with you. So it's like, yo, I need you. Like, yeah, you a stay-at-home wife, but I need to make sure you're not out here getting drunk, passing out in this middle of this bar, doing something stupid.
And,
You know what I'm saying?
and that's
Like,
another thing. If you Jeff Bezos, right, and you hear that your wife has a new boyfriend after you cut a check for not say it right after, but you cut a check for $30 billion. What's the first thing you gonna think? Well, my $30 billion is essentially funding this relationship.
Can't think like that. It's none of
You're right.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
you're
that's a good
right.
business,
No,
right?
but
That's
I'm
what
saying,
it is.
I'm saying, as a human
If
being,
she wants
how
to-
can you not think? I'm not saying she should never date. I'm saying as a human being that know that you worked hard to be able to cut a check for $30 billion
But if
and
she's
not
whether
pay
she's
for it.
contributing or not, it's not going to change that scenario. Like if she's working making $40,000 a year, and y'all the divorce, and she still decide, yo, look, all right, now this is what I'm going to do in that settlement. The scenario is still the same.
No,
All right, so what's the takeaway from all of this marriage 50-50 stuff?
Nah, I'm happy
Marriages
for Gabrielle
don't,
Union.
just be careful. That's all I can tell
I'm
you.
happy for Gabrielle Union. She's great. She's amazing.
All right, y'all. So
She's hot.
She is. So this,
Sorry, Mr. Brown. I don't mean to step on your slide,
You
but
talking about my boo?
all right, y'all. So this was a lively one. It's great to be back, talk to y'all. Be sure to follow us on Instagram, Beer Plans Podcast. We always appreciate y'all ear holes. But until next time.
All right, here we go.
That sounded so gross.